Well, the umbrellas are out, and for once it's not because of Darwin's infamous wet season weather. A cloud of controversy lingers over TIO Stadium and the AFL-NT administration after the decision to grant Jason Eagle an exemption to play in the finals. Let's cut straight to the chase. Gray, I spoke to Joel Bowden, the AFL-NT stakeholder and engagement manager, and I asked him why Jason Eagle was allowed to play in the finals.
Jason Eagle has been granted an exemption under the bylaws, the AFL-NT bylaws 5.3.6e, where the competition manager is able to exercise his discretion and grant an exemption for a player who hasn't played the required number of games to play in the finals, should he be restricted from playing the forward due to work commitments, business commitments, but also injury or education commitments.
The bylaw also suggests that applications for exemption need to be made at least 14 days in advance. Did Southern Districts provide the application for exemption prior to 14 days before?
Southern Districts provided all the relevant documentation and information to apply for the exemption, and it was at the discretion of the competition manager. The competition manager
the 14 days
has made his decision based on all the available evidence. Some discretion has been shown, and that is the competition manager has allowed the application to come in, I think it is 12 days from the application. Notwithstanding the fact, David, that Jason had a death in the family, and that is the discretion that has been shown, that he was not able to foresee the death in the family, and so the application was not within the 14 days. That's where the discretion has been shown in this case.
So was the exemption granted on compassionate grounds?
No, the exemption was granted on all the documentation that was provided under 5.3.6e. Some of the discretion at the timing of it was granted on the fact of the extenuating circumstances with a death in Jason's family.
Great, it's certainly a topic that has got the punters talking, particularly around the edges. What do you make of Joel's comments?
Well, it's got everyone talking. It's got the clubs themselves talking too, and I know that some of the teams in the finals aren't very happy about it either. So, and it all comes down to that 14-day application number, Dave. I think the AFL-NT is going to be very careful how they word it.
Well, one thing it does make for is an interesting contest this week against St Mary's. Jason Eagle, of course, bagged 6 goals on the weekend. He was very good for Southern Districts, and it sets up a huge game, a spot in the TIO NTFL Grand Final on the line. Gray, let's preview St Mary's versus Southern Districts 3:10 at TIO Stadium.
Yes, they haven't played in a lot of finals, these sides. St Mary's coming off a week's rest, of course, courtesy of the minor premiership. Districts will have to back up their form from last week, where they won by almost 14 goals, and 14 goals a week before as well. So they're certainly in form, but they play against a side very, very tough on scoring against.
One thing I'm really looking forward to in this game, Gray, is the forwards for both sides. For St Mary's, of course, Mill, Ewing, McFarlane, just 3 great goal-kicking forwards and presences, while for Southern Districts, you've still got Troy Taylor, Willie Farah, and of course Jason Eagle in the side. I reckon the battle of the forward lines will be really good.
Well, that's right. They've got talls and smalls both sides, haven't they? St Mary's have got the bigger names, but certainly Districts have got the capability to kick a big score, as they've shown us in the last 2 weeks.
St Mary's and Southern Districts on TIO Stadium from 3:10, and then after that it's cutthroat elimination final time. Wanderers have already survived 2 elimination finals, for want of a better term. Round 18, of course, was a virtual final. They played really well under pressure, and they were impressive against the Bombers last week.
Very hard of the ball, weren't they? They shocked the Bombers to a point, especially in the first half when they got out to about a 5-goal lead. Of course, the Bombers came back at them, but they were good enough to hold on, Wanderers, and they're going to have to play the same type of game against Nightcliff, I reckon. Also, they're going to have to find a focal point, someone who can take a contested marker up forward. What
about Nightcliff, Gray? They played lots of kids on the weekend, and their kids were probably the ones that really stood up. The likes of Brandon Parfitt and Ryan Nice and those type of players. Are they any chance of stabilising the ship and defeating a rampant Wanderers at the moment?
Well, they have to be. I mean, they've played well all year. They finished second on the ladder after the home and away round, but they'll be looking for more from their players because they have fumbled and stumbled in the last week or two. They're going to certainly have to find more because this Wanderers side's on a roll, and I'm sure Damien Hale and his coaching staff are going to tell the players to get out there and perform to their best, not just for themselves but for the fans and the sponsors of the club, because it's been a long time since I won a flag down there at Nightcliff.
Nightcliff and Wanderers live on AFL NTV. As you mentioned, great, a long time since Nightcliff won a flag, but I'm going to put it on the line now and ask you for your tips in the games, and I might give mine this week as well, Gray. We'll start with St Mary's and Southern Districts. Who are you going for?
I just think St Mary's have got too much class and too much ability to fill the gaps to lose it to a very keen and enthusiastic Districts.
I'm going to agree with you there, Gray. I think St Mary's for me. Nightcliff versus Wanderers, the game that will be live on AFL NTV from 5:35, of course.
Yeah, Wanderers, as I said, on a roll. It's pretty hard to go past them. Nightcliff will bounce back. They have to bounce back, as I said, not only for themselves but for everyone associated with the club. But I just believe that Wanderers have got the players and incentive to just get over the line by a couple of goals and earn a spot in the preliminary final.
I reckon you might be right. I reckon it'll be close, but I think that Wanderers might just have the edge in the end. Gray, Nightcliff v Wanderers, of course, live on AFL NTV, as I mentioned. Gray, could be our last one for the season, you and I on AFL NTV. Let's hope it's not, though.
Well, I hope it's not. Certainly there's a lot of people who watch AFL NTV outside of Darwin, and let's hope it's not. Let's hope we go all the way to the grand final, though.
Well, if not, make sure you tune in for our last broadcast of the season, or head down to the games. Two cracking matches. St Mary's and Southern Districts battling for a spot in the grand final. Nightcliff and Wanderers fighting for survival. But from us here today on DK and Great, have a great weekend and enjoy the footy.